Coming to you from deep within the heart of Texas in our secret underground bunkers, it's the New Republic Radio Show. Thank you, everyone, and welcome to the belated Monday show of the New Republic. I'm your host, Keith Clark, and we're going to be going over a couple of topics today. The main thing that I wanted to do was do a corrections portion for the show for the last show that I did. I in several places I switched the meanings of positive law and negative law, and because of that I just wanted to go back, correct it, because here at the New Republic we're all about bringing knowledge to the public. But I also wanted to go a little more in depth. I found an article that I think will really help deal with this and help drive home the true meaning of these two terms, as well as help you to visualize and understand what exactly they mean, so that when you're out and about in public and whatnot, you'll be able to explain to people much easier. I found this article in the American Thinker, and it was specifically about the positive and negative laws, and I just kind of want to go over the article with you because I think it will really help us out. Negative law tells us what we may not do. Positive law tells us what we must do. Breaking a law incurs penalties. Under negative law, government penalizes someone for doing something that he isn't supposed to do. Under positive law, however, government penalizes someone for not doing something he is supposed to do. The distinction is profound and crucial. For instance, like the Obamacare Act, the positive law is punishing you for something that you're supposed to do, which is you're supposed to pay for your premiums for the Obamacare. The 10 Commandments are mainly negative, i.e., thou shalt not kill, steal, commit adultery, lie, covet, etc. In other words, don't do these things to your fellow man. 10 Commandments contain no explicit negative language, but they deal with private, not public matters. Two commandments contain negative, but that's obligation to God and to one's parents. The Declaration of Independence makes the case for negative law and negative government. That is, government wasn't instituted to do good things for us, but to prevent anyone, foreign or domestic, from doing bad things to us. The only legitimate purpose of government was to protect our inalienable God-given rights to be secure in our life, liberty, and property, as codified in the Fifth Amendment. Frederick Bastiat captured the concept of negative government perfectly in his still timely 1850 essay, The Law, writing, "The purpose of the law is to prevent injustice from reigning. Adherence to the negative law of the Mosaic Code is liberating. When government confines itself to protecting impartially anyone's God-given rights, then people are free to go about their business and achieve their potential. This negative orientation of law and government is the conservative ideal. Where negative law liberates, positive law enslaves. When law and government assume a positive character by telling people what they must do, then citizens lose their independence. Furthermore, people potentially can be punished for sitting at home minding their own business. Again, that's with the Obamacare. This will be so under Obamacare, which commands us to buy government-approved health care insurance or be punished." Bastiat warned of the dangers of any legislation that acts positively upon people. It substitutes the will of the legislator for their own initiatives. When this happens, the people no longer need to discuss, to compare, to plan ahead. The law does it all for them. Intelligence becomes a useless prop for the people. They cease to be men. They lose their personality, their liberty, as well as their property. This is the pathology and danger inherent in the modern transfer society. If government controls how much of our property goes to whom, then it really isn't our property, is it? Under negative law, government may not stop us from giving whatever we want to charities that we choose. Thankfully, we have that freedom today. Positive law takes away that freedom. Under positive law, government may take our property and decide to whom to give it to. This positive orientation of law and government is the progressive ideal. And the progressive ideal, the progressive people, those are the liberals out there. For those of you that don't know, those are the people that are out there taking our laws and taking our rights and our freedoms away. Those are the people that want to basically enslave the population of the United States and bring them under direct control of the U.S. government by taking all their needs and their wants away from them and basically making them go to the government to get those. The progressive ideology is predicated on the belief that it is up to the government to make life better for individuals. There are two inescapable problems with this progressive philosophy. Since government can give to one only what it has taken away from another, and liberals just don't get that, progressivism inevitably breeds conflict. That's another weird thing. Liberals are all about avoiding conflict, but they just can't get this in their head that in order for the government to give anything to you or anyone else, it has to take it away from somebody else. But it does inevitably breed conflict. It tramples the rule of law and justice, whereby everyone receives equal protections, by replacing it with a system of privileges, whereby some benefit at the expense of the rights of others. For instance, just because you happen to make some good money in any given year, you are not eligible for food stamps, and your kids can't get certain amounts of money for schools and stuff like that just because you're in the wrong tax bracket. But you're being punished for that. They're taking that money away from you through taxation and giving it to the poor. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. In some cases, we need to do certain things like that, but this is just giving you an idea of how this works. The scope of positive government is infinitely elastic. No matter how much government gives to some, human wants are unlimited. That's another thing that the left does not understand. They don't understand that it doesn't stop at food stamps. It doesn't stop at medical care. That's the problem, is because once they get that, they have other needs. They have needs for a TV. They have needs for a car. They have needs for nice clothes. They have needs for nice shoes. They have needs for nice jewelry. They have needs for tickets to NFL games and NBA games. Where does it stop? So there's always a demand for government to transfer even more wealth to its privileged beneficiaries. The culmination of this process happens when government completely absorbs the private sector, and there is nothing left to appropriate. And that's the problem that you had in countries like Russia. You have problems like that in like Cuba, for instance. Once they've absorbed all that wealth, they've given it out to everybody and they've redistributed. The problem is at that point your economy collapses and there's nobody out there making any real money. So what do you confiscate at that point? And that's basically what happened to both of those countries. That's the reason why Cuba is so dead broke and poor. That's the reason why everybody comes to America for health care. The same thing with Russia. They had a hard time. That's what caused the USSR rather to fail. They had to turn to a capitalist type economy in order for them to move on. That's just a natural process. That's a natural order of things. The conservative concept of negative law and government and the progressive concept of positive law and government are irreconcilable polar opposites. One or the other will eventually prevail. Our freedoms hang in the balance. And, that's the thing. People have to understand, and you guys have to go out there and explain this to people. These people that say, hey, I need a free education, I need free health care, I need free food, I need free room and board. Those people have to understand that money comes from somewhere. Here's the thing. A lot of people, I talk to some of these really way out there wacko leftists, and they tell me things like we need to kill the rich and we need to take their money and redistribute it so everybody has an even amount. the thing is what they don't understand is, okay, that's great that you do that for this year. I mean, other than killing the rich, but what are you going to do next year? Because next year, now there are no more rich. Everybody has the same amount of money. And I know I'm making this in a very short-term process because it would take a little longer than this to happen. But here's the problem. For instance, if you look at the United States GDP and you say, well, the United States generates this much money every year. Well, the problem is they want to redistribute everything, and they want to work only 40 hours, no overtime, no late nights at the office or whatever. So the problem is the United States is making so much money every year. If you take away the ability for people to work over 40 hours and the ability for people to work late at night and work hard and do things like that, I promise you GDP is going to come way down. So here was my thing is a gentleman said something about, well, if you just redistributed all the money in the United States, it would be enough money for everybody to have $80,000 each year. Well, that's great. That sounds good. But here's the problem. After that first year, the amount of money being generated would drop probably from $80,000 to about $40,000 a year. Now, I can tell you that in certain parts of the country, $40,000 a year won't get you by. And if it does, it's going to basically be, in what most people call a poverty state. Obviously, it's not, and I'm being a little dramatic saying, but the thing is still, who wants to live their entire life on $40,000 a year? I mean, that's just, yeah, sure, that might take care of all the basics, but what kind of life is that? That's not much of a life to me. I want to always know that I can go out there and I can work harder and I can gain more. I can work smarter and I can gain more. I can network and make friends and do the right things I need to do and be nice to people, and I can get a little bit extra here and a little bit extra there. Otherwise somebody can just be a total horrible human being and they don't care. They come in late every day, they do half the work, be a total butthead to everybody. It doesn't matter because they're going to make their $40,000 a year no matter what. But that's just not the way I look at it. I myself always strive not for perfection, but to make myself better and do better every day. But when you have that, when there's no room to grow, why work harder? Because you're always going to make the same amount. Your efforts are basically going to not go unpunished, because it doesn't matter if you work more or you come up with better ideas than everybody else. That won't matter because you will never be rewarded for it. You're expected to just do that. And human nature just does not work like that. That's the problem of the leftists. They see all of this micromanagement. They're like micromanagers. They see all the small things in the world, and they want to go in and adjust and stop this and start that and fix this and fix that, and that has its place. But what they can never seem to do is they can never back up and look at the big picture of things. When you're looking at the big picture of things in a utopian type society, you realize that there's always one individual out there that wants to do better, that wants to excel. There's always one guy or one woman out there that wants to buy a nicer ring for their wife or for their husband, that wants to make sure that their children have nice vehicles, or their children have nice clothes, or their children just live in a nice, warm, and loving environment. The problem with that is there's tons of people out there like that, myself included. So I am always going to be that guy that does what it takes to get that little bit extra for the people that he loves. The problem with that is that goes completely against a utopian system, because that basically what I become is the wrench, the monkey wrench in the big machine, because now I'm moving outside of what the expected design is. It starts to break down from there because somebody else is going to watch me do that, and they're going to say, hey, I kind of like that. I want to treat my wife good. I want to treat my children well. I'm going to do what Keith's doing. So I'm going to get my hustle on. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do some little trades for this or that. Some, the little government stamps that they give you, I'm going to save them up, and I'm going to trade for this and trade for that. Trade up here and trade up there. And then I'll be able to buy some nice clothes for my wife. Or, ooh, I'll be able to get a little bit bigger house each month. Those type of things are going to happen. It's natural. It's human nature. But this is what liberals do not understand, because they want this utopian society where everybody has the same. That's the problem. Human nature. Nobody wants the same. Think about it. Even if you're listening to this and you're a left-leaning person, really be honest with yourself. Do you just really want the exact same thing as everybody else out there? Would you not do an extra 15 minutes of work? Who knows what it is, either at work or even if it's at home. If you're doing something for somebody in your garage, would you not do an extra 15 or 30 minutes of work for somebody if you could have a couple little nice things extra? You know you would. It's human nature. So that's the problem. Human nature is always going to throw monkey wrenches in the big machine of a utopian society. The problem with that is, I promise you, if you will go out today or tomorrow and do this research, start doing research on what the liberals propose to do for people like Keith, people like you and I, that won't follow the system exactly the way they want to do. And what you'll find, and even if you can find a few of these really crazy leftists and you talk to them, they'll admit to you openly. They'll tell you the first step is re-education camps, and that's what they had in the USSR. What this was for was people that wouldn't fit in their society and had like these capitalist ideas, and these ideas that somehow their family deserved a little bit more than everybody else on the block. Those people would be turned in from their fellow workers, from their fellow neighbors, and they would have to go to re-education camps. And at the re-education camp, you would learn that your thought process was not the right thought process. And there was many ways they did this in China as well. They still do it. But there's many horrible ways that they get you to change your mind about that. But again, that's the problem. Sure, when you're in there, I'm sure you'll tell them whatever they want to hear, just so you can get out. And that's the problem, is somebody like me would go right in. I'd probably tell them whatever they wanted to hear, and then as soon as they let me out, I'd go right back to doing what I was doing. That's the problem, because re-education does not always work. Sure, it works for some people, but the problem is people like me. Now, the next step that they'll tell you is it goes from re-education to death penalties. Because here's the problem. You can't have people like Keith running around being a horrible example of how to take care of your family, or rather, how to have nice things and treat your family well. That's a horrible example to them. The problem is I might talk. You might come to me and you might ask me, hey, how are you doing all this? And I might tell you. And that's a horrible thing, again, because that's us throwing monkey wrenches in the big machine. So, ultimately, what happens is they come to their wits' end and they look at me and they go, this ignorant man, he's misguided, he doesn't understand, and he's causing problems to everybody. We just have to put him to death for the greater good of the society. So they then line me up outside, tie me up to a tree or whatever, and they shoot me, kill me, then turn around, charge my family for the bullet. That's the thing that you people don't understand, is because these people that always want the socialist, the communist societies, they want to tell you all the good stuff and about how it's going to be great and all this great stuff. And they want to polish it up and make a great presentation to you and tell you how great it's going to be when everybody's equal. What they don't tell you is, and I'll be honest, so many of them have never studied it far enough. They're just like you. They're hearing a good sales pitch, and then they turn around and they start regurgitating that sales pitch to everybody that'll listen. The problem is they don't go and study it and understand it fully. They're basically teaching from an ignorant standpoint. They're teaching just the sales pitch, and they're not telling you all the fine print. So that's the problem, is too many people aren't looking at the fine print. They're listening to the sales pitch. And that's what we've got to do, is we've got to go out there And you guys still, you can't just take everything that I'm saying and believe that. You've got to go out there and do some research and find out even more stuff that even I don't know about the subject. And once you understand it and you know it, then you can go out and you can make people understand. But that's the thing with going back to the concept of positive and negative law. Just because somebody says it's a positive law, people want to automatically say, "Oh, that's a good thing." Yeah, no, it's not. It's not, because positive law takes freedoms away. It's the negative law that basically allows freedoms. It stops you at certain points, which we do need limits. I'm not saying a full completely, absolutely libertarian society or an anarchist society, because those do have problems in and of themselves. But we need to have as few laws taking freedoms away from us as possible, because with more freedoms, we're going to have more ingenuity, more opportunity to do all the things that we need to do for ourselves, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else. The less legislation and rules holding things back, we're going to be able to do more research. We're going to be able to do more things that are going to help the society as a whole and help everybody as individuals too. So I think that was a good article there in the American Thinker that kind of helps you get a good idea on the positive and negative laws. So hopefully that'll help you guys out. So when you're out and about and subjects like this come up, you'll be able to help people. Moving on to another subject. This is kind of a fun subject for me. As a lot of you know, I was in the health and supplement industry for quite a while. So I've learned a lot of inside stuff too, as well as the basic stuff that everybody knows. I happened to be reading earlier an article about the 10 myths of weight loss. And most of the time I read these type of articles and I find that about 50% of the stuff is just complete garbage. But this article, I think, was a good overall article. Yes, there was some things that were wrong with it, and I'll go into that. They weren't blatantly wrong. They were just a little bit misrepresentative. But I just thought you guys might like to hear this, and hey, it's always great to learn something new every day. But let's start here. Myth number 1: the best way to lose weight is to dramatically cut calories. I think most of you know at the heart of that's probably not a good idea. A much better approach: eat more often, but eat less food at one time, and focus on eating more meals during the day, smaller amounts. For fastest weight loss, break up your total daily caloric allotment. Don't eat fewer than 1,200 calories if you're a woman, or 1,800 calories if you're a man. Just break it up into 5 to 6 small meals to keep your metabolism going. What happens is, every time you eat, it actually increases your metabolism. So instead of just eating 3 times a day, or horribly what some people do is 2 times a day, you'll be able to keep your metabolism humming along, because if you're only eating 2 or 3 times a day, then you're only getting 2 to 3 boosts of your metabolism each day. So imagine if you had 5 or 6 boosts to your metabolism. So that's the idea there. Number 2, healthy weights will bulk you up. This is just hilarious to me, because I get guys telling me this all the time. Yeah, sure, especially women. But it absolutely cracks me up when a guy tells me this, that, oh, I don't want to use heavy weights because I don't want to look like Arnold or Jay Cutler. Well, you know what? I promise you, you'll never, ever, ever, under any circumstance, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Jay Cutler, Mr. Olympia. We're talking about like less than 1% of the population that can even look like those guys. You have to have phenomenal genetics in order to get super huge like that. And the other part is what people don't understand is you have to work out in a very specific way. You have to eat ridiculous amounts of food, and of course you have to take ridiculous amounts of drugs. So the idiots out there, men and women both, that sit there and say, "Oh, I don't want to lift heavy weights because I don't want to get big." Don't even worry about it. Please stop. Just hush. Lift some heavy weights. It's going to be just fine. You will never get big. Don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. You're not that special. I'm sorry. You're just not. Number 3, keep your heart rate in the fat burning zone. Now, this one was actually a little wrong. They were trying to tell you, don't worry about the fat burning zone. Actually, run as fast as you can. Basically, you'll burn more calories. That is technically true. However, the problem with, setting the treadmill on as high as it'll go and just, going after it for 15 or 30 minutes is, yes, you will burn more calories. The problem is you will burn more muscle. That's kind of a bad thing, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you'll burn at the end of the week. And the more muscle you have, the more you can eat. The more muscle you have, the more balanced your body will look. The more muscle you have, the better you will look. And honestly, the healthier you will be. So, you don't really want to just go all out like they're trying to tell you in this article. You want to try to stay lower on the heart rate scale. Probably anywhere between, depending on your age, anywhere between 110 to about 140 beats per minute. The reason why is because that's a great fat burning zone, but it won't go, so your heart won't be racing so fast and burning through so much glycogen that it'll start eating muscle. Myth number 4: boosting cardio is the best way to bypass a plateau. The article said one study found that when individuals cycled for 30 minutes a day, they lost 3 pounds of fat and gained half a pound of muscle in 8 weeks. But individuals who cycled for 15 minutes and weight trained for 15 minutes a day lost 10 pounds of fat and gained 2 pounds of calorie burning muscle. Now, I can't emphasize more the fact that muscle is your friend. You absolutely, no matter what your goal is, no matter what you want to look like, your goal is to get more muscle. Here's the reason why: because it will get you to your goal faster. Why do you want to sit and kill yourself on the treadmill or kill yourself running road work up and down the streets? Why do you want to do that more when you could gain more muscle and get to your goal faster? Here's a hint. If you are just this unbelievably lucky individual who has just phenomenal genetics, yeah, you know what? You might gain a little more muscle than you want. But here's the thing about muscle. If you ever accidentally, which, again, I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen. If you ever accidentally get too much muscle and you look at yourself in the mirror and you go, I am just not happy with myself because I've got too much muscle. If those words ever come out of your mouth, guess what? All you have to do is stop working out those muscles. In a couple of weeks, they'll shrink down and they'll go to the size that you want. But here's the cool thing. Wouldn't you rather drop your body fat down and get to looking great and then have to take off 2 or 3 weeks from working out so that you could look exactly how you wanted to? Okay, that's the thing. But definitely, just running or doing cardio by itself is not even half as effective. And that's what this article says. It's not even half as effective as doing cardio and weights. And that's for you, ladies. Weights are not a bad thing. You have to get that out of your head. That's for all those Pilates, Zumba people out there. They're just trying to get you in their class. They're just trying to make a buck off of you. They're going to tell you all, you don't want to ruin your physique by using weights, yada, yada, yada. That right there is just people trying to get in your wallet. Science tells you very simply what works best. Listen to science, ladies, and some of you guys. Don't listen to basically sales pitches. All right, myth number 5. Ab exercises are the fastest way to a flat belly. Now, this is absolutely hilarious. From the article, doing abdominal exercises can strengthen the different ab muscles, but it won't burn body fat and reveal that six-pack. Abs are made in the kitchen, not from doing crunches. What people don't understand, and with people that I train, this drives me nuts. But this article does a decent job of explaining this. But here's the thing. Think about it. You want that 6-pack or that 8-pack, okay? Well, you're working 8 tiny little muscles in your stomach, and you're just killing yourself doing 1,000 crunches, this and that, blah, 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 for, 30 minutes to an hour. You're working on this garbage. Well, guess what? You're burning next to no calories. You might as well just been laying on the couch. Actually, you know what? You're probably burning the equivalent of laying on the couch and continuously clicking the clicker. Click, 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 click. That's about how many calories you burned. Here's the thing. Most people think they're doing good when they're doing crunches because they're getting all hot and sweaty and they're breathing hard and they're out of breath. You know why you're out of breath? Because you're forcing yourself to stop breathing every time you do a crunch. That's the reason why you're out of breath, not because you're burning calories. You're out of breath because you can't breathe. You're forcing yourself to stop breathing. And people don't understand this. Crunches, abs, all that work, when you want to do that is after you've lost all the weight. When you're at your perfect body weight. Then you want to get in the gym and start doing all those crunches and all those different exercises to make your 6-pack or your 8-pack look really good. At that point, you've got the body fat off the top of your muscles. Everybody has a 6-pack. Everybody has an 8-pack. But the only way to see it is to get that weight loss done, and you get that weight loss done in the kitchen, meaning what you eat and the cardio that you do. And abs are absolutely no type of cardio. In fact, they're just a waste of time in the gym. You're basically throwing away that 15 or that 30 minutes because you basically did nothing to your body except made your stomach muscles a little bit bigger. That's it. So that's just a little help for me there. Alright, myth number 6. Doing squats will make your butt big. Oh my gosh. How wrong can this be? This is about as wrong as it gets. From the article, we all know what makes your butt big, and it isn't squats. All of us who sit in front of a computer at a desk or in a car seat all day are at risk of developing weak glutes unless we actively do something about it. Now, ladies, I see this all the time, and mostly with you. Y'all are all worried about, I don't want to get my butt too big. Oh my gosh. Believe me, doing squats is not going to make your butt big. What it's going to do is it's going to make your butt look really nice. And you're going to start getting a lot more attention paid to you. And you're going to get a lot more numbers, asked on a lot more dates. Why? Because it's going to shape your butt into a very pleasant shape that unfortunately is super duper attractive to all men. Well, 99.9 of us anyway. But yeah, squats, and here's another thing, ladies, deadlifts. If you want a nice butt, do squats, do deadlifts. Doesn't hurt if you go up on the weight. It's not going to make you big and bulky and ugly. It's going to make you very, very hot. So, again, squats are good. Deadlifts are good. Do them. If you want to make your butt smaller, if you have too much fat on your butt, that is done through diet and through cardio. So if your butt is too big, what you want to do is keep doing your squats, keep doing your deadlifts. You want to get on the treadmill. You want to keep, do an extra 15 minutes on that treadmill, and you want to cut a few calories and or stick more strictly to your diet. Number 7. It can take only a few weeks to reach a weight loss plateau. This is actually not true. That's a horrible myth that people think. Most people that I've trained with weight loss, I have never seen a plateau ever before 6 months. The only time that I see plateaus, not with the people that I train, but the only time I see plateaus is when people are just doing ridiculous diets. They're either cutting their calories way too far back, or maybe sometimes they're doing too much, they're working out too much and they're causing overtraining. And what happens in either of those cases, if you're eating too little and or you're working out way too much, 2-3 hours a day, then what happens is your body basically gets sick and it slows everything down. It slows your metabolism down, it slows your muscle growth down, all that stuff, and so that will result in a plateau. Whenever you get in a plateau, if you ever do get to that, you generally want to tweak your diet. That's where you want to go to first. Yeah, sure. If you've lost 80 pounds and you're trying to get that extra last 10 or 15 pounds, yes, you might have to go and start doing cardio, 2 hours a day every day. That might be the case, but the first go-to is adjust your diet, see how that works. Whoever you're working with, whatever your trainer is, talk to them about that, because you might just need to tweak your diet a little bit to get that last little bit going, or not the last little bit, but whenever you get to a plateau and you still have a long ways to go, just tweak your diet a little bit. And another thing that sometimes really helps, in the rare case that people get into a bad plateau, I often recommend like 2 weeks off. And what that's for is you take 2 weeks off of working out, and then you bump your calories up a good bit. Not crazy, but bump your calories up a good bit. It kind of resets your metabolism. It takes the stress off your body, and it allows you to move forward. All right. Myth number 8. I can slim down by switching to diet soda. This is one of the absolute worst things that you can do. There may be 0 calories, but chugging those cans of chemicals could be making you fatter. A study at Purdue University found that rats given artificial sweeteners ate more calories and gained more weight than rats given sugar. Understand that. That's a very unnatural chemical that you're intaking when you're drinking those diet sodas. And what happens is it causes a response in your body. Basically what happens when you cut that sugar completely out, and your body basically reads that you're intaking a sugary substance, but it's not. What happens is your body wants that sugar now. It says, well, okay, she gave me some sugar, so I know it's out there, so I'm going to force her to do this. And what it does is it makes you hungrier, so that your body's hoping you're going to go to that sugary substance and bring it in. But that's the problem, is all you do is you create a internal craving that is really hard for you to control. So ladies, that's something that you need to understand. You need to drink some lemon water or cucumber water or something, or just straight water. That if you're cutting down to that point, and those little calories were really counting, then sad to say, you just need to go to water for a while. Or try some tea. You got to be careful because that can be a little bit dehydrating. But tea without sugar or anything like that is very good for a good while. Anyway, moving on. Myth number 9: an empty stomach means more fat burn. Now this one I'm going to kind of leave alone in aspect, because I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. The article is trying to tell you that you want a little bit of food in your stomach, like an hour before you work out, so that you have glycogen in your system in order to ignite your fat burning. And here's the problem with this particular idea is, yes, the article quotes some studies, but here's my problem. I can show you 10 studies from reputable people that are going to show you that exercising on an empty stomach helps you to burn more fat. Then I can turn around and show you 10 other studies from really great research sources that are going to tell you the opposite. They're going to tell you, nope, you need to have some food in your stomach in order to start your metabolism. I've seen bodybuilders and fitness competitors that swear by both, one or the other. So my recommendation is, I think what happens is I think this is a little bit dependent upon everybody's personal bodies. So I think some people work better with no food and doing cardio. I think some people work better with doing a little bit of food and then doing the cardio. So I would recommend that you try both and see what works better, because right now we just don't have a definitive answer. That's the honest answer. Number 10, you can target trouble spots. This is the most annoying thing ever to me. People that think that, do crunches, do sit-ups, and that'll help me burn fat in my stomach. Do certain weird exercises, I can get rid of my love handles. Doing squats and doing bike and running will help me get rid of fat on my legs. Guess what? No can do. Does not work. Science has proven over and over again that your body decides where to burn fat based on your genetics, regardless of the body part that you're exercising. So you could be working out your legs and you could lose your double chin. Literally, I've seen it happen over and over again. You can be working out your chest and you could be losing cellulite off your legs. That's just, it's weird. It's way annoying because we all have little areas that we would like to target first, and you just can't do that. The way, if you want to do a little research into fat burning, the pattern that it uses, you can actually go in and look at how it pulls away cells, and you'll actually understand why some people get flabby skin after they lose a lot of weight. And the reason why you get flabby skin is because it basically pops fat cells randomly. So if you have 1,000 fat cells around in a certain part of your belly, it just goes in like a little needle, and it just pops here, there, 3 inches over, 4 inches over, 5 inches over, 1 inch down, and it just randomly pops the fat cell and breaks it down. Well, the problem with that is now you have a whole bunch of open area behind that skin. That's what causes it to become flabby, because it no longer has the fat to kind of keep it stiff, kind of somewhat stiff and together. Eventually you'll pop all those fat cells, and then it'll finally shrink up. But it takes a lot of cardio, a lot of dedication, and a lot of good eating to get to that point. But yeah, it's very frustrating, and the only thing that you can do is just see it through and just get to the end, get to your goal, and once you get to your goal, you'll be very, very happy. But yeah, sad to say, there's no body wraps or chemicals that you can rub into your belly to make it smaller, make it go away faster. All those things are sales pitches, and it's just people trying to get your money. Science does not back it up. That's not the way the biochemistry of your body works. So anyway, that I think show's running a little long, folks. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Hopefully you enjoyed some of this. I hope my first portion, I know some of you were probably, your eyes were glazing over, but I just thought we needed to go over that. The second part here, hopefully had a little fun with it, and hopefully it was helpful. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot, and we will be seeing you on Thursday. Have a great one.